Do you want to set up your own DNS server? Follow along to know how I did it. We'll see how to install our own DNS server on Raspberry Pi using Pihole. I have this nice case, the ARGON M.2. It allows to use an SSD instead of micro SD, so that's pretty useful. First, let's open it. Here I have already installed the Raspberry Pi along with its adapter. It's an adapter that comes with the case. Now I just need to install the SSD in the bottom part of the case. I'm using 256 gigabytes SSD, which is more than enough for my use case. Alright, now that it's installed, we just need to close it. But first, I need to remove the micro SD to flush the OS first, and then we can move it to the SSD after that. You can also directly flush into the SSD, but in this case I prefer to use the micro SD first because we need to do some modifications on the Raspberry before we make it work with an SSD. Okay, so now I've inserted the micro SD. Now I'm gonna flash the Raspberry OS on the SD card. You can either use Balena Etcher or Raspberry Pi Imager, which is what I'm using right now. It's the official program of Raspberry Pi. First, you select the Raspberry Pi you have. I have the 4. If you have the 5 or 0 or whatever, it works with any one of them. Then we choose the Raspberry Pi OS 64 bits, and then we choose the SD card. Now we're gonna need to edit settings to be able to log in through SSH or VNC directly. No need to for a monitor or something. So we just set up the username and password. I'm gonna choose a simple password for me. No need for LAN for me because no need for Wi-Fi because I'm gonna use LAN, Ethernet. And that's it. We save and yes. Alright, so it started. It's gonna take some time, depending on your connection. Alright, so now it's finished. I'm gonna plug it in the Raspberry again, and then I'm gonna connect through SSH and the VNC. Okay, now after I've plugged it, I need to find out the IP address of the Raspberry Pi so that I can connect to it. I will just go to my router settings and get the IP from there. And then I can connect from the terminal. So we use SSH, the username is Pi, and the IP I got from there, and the password is the one I entered during the setup. Here we go, now we're connected. Now the next step is to install Pi-hole on the Raspberry Pi to transform it into a DNS server. So first we start by updating the system or running apt update. And then we install Pi-hole using this command. It will download the script from the official website and then run the installer script. It's gonna take a few seconds to finish. Okay, so now after running some checks, the installer will ask you some configurations to do. So first you need the static IP. We can do this later. For now we're just gonna use the IP we used before, but we must do it later in the router settings. Use the interface. For me it's Ethernet. I recommend using Ethernet. It's better and it's more stable than Wi-Fi. For the DNS provider, I went with Cloudflare, but of course you can do any one of them. Even Code9 or Google are fine. This will install the default list for blocking ads. Yeah, we go with the default values. Yes, for me. Okay, so the installation is complete. You get to see the IP address and the URL to access. And of course, we must access it first. So let's open a browser, access it with pi.hole/admin. Sometimes DNS doesn't work, so we're just gonna use the IP address. The password is shown in the screen. Just copy it in the terminal, I mean. Okay, so this is dashboard for Pihole. It's an overview of the queries. You can see the domains, the clients, total queries blocked, and so on. We are not gonna go into details in this video. Maybe I will do a separate video just for Pihole and how to set it up properly. So first things first, we're gonna set up static IP, just so that we're not gonna have issues later. So I'm going into the router settings, and I will manually set it static IP of 254. Just because it's the last IP in my network, and pretty sure it's not used by any other device. It's gonna differ from your router, so you'll wanna try to figure this out by yourself. If you have issues, you can ask me and I can help you if needed. Just gonna reboot it just to make sure everything is gonna work. After a while, let's wait a little bit, but after a while it works. We can connect to it again. Okay, so now it works. You can connect using the 254 IP. Alright, so you can go to settings, try modify some settings if you want, but the default settings are enough for a home DNS server. There is nothing custom, nothing necessary you need to do. Now I'm gonna use this DNS as the default DNS in my router. You can either do it this way or set up the DNS manually for each device, but this one is better because it will be applied to the whole network. Alright, now let's make a test. I'm just gonna ping Google and see if the query goes to the Pi-hole or not. Well, somehow it's not working. Oh yeah, we just need to disable the Wi-Fi and enable it again, just to make the changes. Now it should work. Let's try again, and the query is it's already working. As you can see here, some queries are blocked, some are not. You can also check the DNS records. That's one thing that's good about Pi-hole, is that you can make your own DNS records to refer to devices in your own network. Here you can see the list of all queries. Green are the OK queries, so the allowed queries, and red are the blocked ones. So from time to time you want to check the dashboard and see if there is a blocked query. You can whitelist it, or you can even blacklist it if you want. So for example, here we're gonna blacklist example.com. So now it's not working. We open private network because the browser cached DNS, that's why. And you can see the blocked queries. Now I'm gonna whitelist again, and it should work. Now it's working again. Now we're gonna test the local DNS, just to give you an overview of how it works. So first you choose domain, anything. like really anything. For me, I'm gonna add domain for the Pihole. It will point to the IP of the Raspberry Pi, of course, and then you can try to access it. Sorry, this always happens. I don't know why. Because it's not recognized the domain, of course, I guess. So now it's working. Okay, so now I will show you how to change the password because the default one is random and hard to memorize. So we're gonna use a simple command. Let's get back to the terminal and we type Pihole -a-p and we choose a new password. It's as simple as this. And we're done. Let's log in again with the new password just to check if it's working. Yeah, that's it. The last step now is to use the SSD instead of the micro SD. First we need to enable VNC, so let's SSH into it, and then we run the command raspi config. We go to interface options, VNC, and yes to enable it. Now we connect through a VNC client like real VNC or any other VNC client. We use the same password of the SSH. Now we need to copy what's in the SD card to the SSD. To do that, we use an already existing tool, SD card copier. We choose a copy from SSD from the micro SD to SSD. I will just skip this part because it takes some time. Okay, so now it's done. Now we need to change the boot order to make it boot from the SSD. We again use the same tool, raspi config, and then we go to system options, boot, auto login, so the fifth option. Actually it's advanced system and then boot order, sorry for the confusion, and then we choose the SSD first. Now SSD is the default boot options. Now we need to reboot. We wait for a few seconds and then we ping it again to check if it's up. Yes, it's up, so now it should work. The VNC is not started yet. Let's try to SSH. Yeah, SSH is working. That's it. Sometimes it takes a few seconds for the VNC to come up. Now we need to check if it's really booting from the SSD. We open a terminal first. We run lsblk. We can see that there is a SDI disk, which is our SSD. Now we're gonna test the speed, just to be sure it's fine, using the inbuilt tool. Okay, it should be good. Let's check the log. Alright, we have the correct speed, which is 260 megabytes. So now the Raspberry Pi is using the SSD. Now we don't need the SD card, and it's much faster this way. That's it. I hope you liked the tutorial. Please let me know if you have any questions or any concerns, and please don't forget to subscribe, like and share. Thank you.